Hey, can you flex? Is pearl white difficult to match? Pearl white, I mean, if you got the same color, it's not that difficult to match. If you're working with the same color, you got the same mixing ratios, the same color, it's not that bad, right? I trade my car or keep it because I think it won't look the same. I mean, it all depends on the damage. I don't know how bad it is. Sometimes you can fix it. Sometimes you might have to take it to a frame shop to pull the rear end out a little bit. It all depends. If you guys want to send me pictures or video, send it to Tony at learnautobodyandpaint.com. I don't mind taking a look at it and doing a quick email reply. I do it all the time for VIP guys. So if that's something that you want, let me know. Just email Tony at learnautobodyandpaint.com. A truck bed that is single stage. I have a few rock chips. Will glaze putty be sufficient to cover the rocks? And I sanded through some areas. Yeah. Absolutely. So you can feather some of the rock chips out. If you get to metal, I would definitely make sure you spray some sealer over it before painting. Or if you're, doing some body work on it, you got some 2K filler primer. You're going to want to just hit those little metal areas and those spots with filler primer so you can flatten that out with 400 grit. And then you're ready for paint. So you could paint directly over a 2K filler primer, guys, or you can use a sealer over that and then put your base coat clear coat. With the Tesla, we did a sealer because the teal that I painted was a very translucent, hard to cover color. So I had to seal that whole car before laying that base coat on, but it came out really nice. The only thing I need to do to that project is color sand and buff it. It's been, it's probably been a month now since I painted it, and it's nice and dry. It's cured. It looks really good. And we just got to color sand it and buff it. And then once I make that segment of videos, that'll also be in VIP for you. That, it's like another part of the series. What brand of sandpaper do you use? If you're on a budget, just go on Amazon. You get the China-made sandpapers. I mean, they work. Some of the sand granulars may kind of come off a little quicker than other brands, but they work. That's if you want to go on a budget. I've done it. Amazon Chinese sandpapers work well. If you got the budget, you might want to look into Eagle. Kovacs is a very good brand. Kovacs actually gives me sandpaper, so I really don't have to buy sandpaper, but Kovacs is a very good Japanese brand of sandpaper. They make really, really good sandpaper. Norton makes good sandpapers. Besides that, like I don't know any of the other like new sandpaper brands because like I said, Kovacs just gives me sandpaper, So yeah. Called paint company nearby. The color is Victory Red, and they have multiple reds with different names. How close to these colors usually match factory paint, or should I blend it into the fenders? Well, it depends on the job, right? So if you're going to be doing a high quality job, and if you're getting paid for high quality, and you then the correct way to do it is to blend. You're doing a hood, so the correct way to do it would be to blend into the fenders and clear coat the whole front end. Okay, depending if the color is pretty close and similar, then you could get away with just painting the hood. Okay, and again, it depends. I would actually take the vehicle over there, or take your gas cap cover over there so they can match the paint when they make it and get it as close as possible. Because if you give them a part of the car that they can match, they usually do a pretty good job, And if it looks really well, then you can probably most likely get away with painting the hood and just leaving it as that. Especially if it's a newer car, 5-7 years old. Probably not much fading going on, unless it's been in the sun, parked outside all day for that whole time. Then yeah, you're gonna have some fading. But most cars 5 years to 7 years old, within that range, not too much fading, unless it's a crappy paint job. I know some Hondas back in the day, some Toyotas back in the day, some Chevys back in the day in the 90s, early 2000s had some bad paint work on their cars, and like within 5, 7 years, all the clear coat was literally like flaking off. That was just bad paint. Bad paint, very thinly laid on, and yeah, a lot of guys are I was repainting a lot of those types of cars back in the day. Um, so yeah, it all depends, Tyler. Are you a Learn Autobody VIP member, Tyler? If not, definitely go to learnautobodyandpaint.com, pick up that free auto body guide, and then we got some email trainings for you that teach you auto body and paint. And again, if you're really serious about this, definitely check out VIP, Learn Auto Body VIP. All right. Also, you guys can go to radspaintformula.com to get more free training on the Rads Paint Formula system there. Got some deep scratches in the bottom of my door. Should I sand and put some metal glaze in it, or is there a better way? I mean, you don't have to put any metal glaze in it. You could just use a polyurethane glaze. There's a 1K that you can use, or a 2K type of putty. Dolphin Glaze makes some good glaze putty that you can use. They make a 1K version where you just put it on, let it dry, overnight, and then wet sand that, and then you can seal that before paint, or you can put 2K filler primer on that, block it down with 400, and then paint it. 2010 Silverado, got it. So yeah, hopefully that helps. Do you need to reapply epoxy primer if you find unwanted imperfections that need a little filler? No, because if you got imperfections, well, I don't know if you mean 2K filler primer or epoxy. Like sometimes you may want to be using a 2K filler primer instead of epoxy primer. But if you have imperfections in your primer stage, you want to make sure you at least block it out to get all of the paint texture out, the orange peel, get it as flat as you can. And if you have imperfections like rock chips or deep scratches still showing through that, you can just put a glaze over it, a polyurethane like Dolphin Glaze. I like Dolphin Glaze. U-POL is Dolphin Glaze. What other brand? EGC, I use their products, European Genuine Coatings. They make some good putties that you can use. 1K or 2K. 2K, guys, is basically you're mixing the putty with a hardener, and it dries harder and faster. 1K takes a while to dry because the solvents inside of it need to evaporate. Takes a little longer to dry, but they still dry hard. Okay, and those types of 1K putties are better for fine scratches or very small rock chips. Okay, smaller imperfections. If you have deep rock chips, deep scratches, you're going to want to use a 2K glaze putty. Okay, because sometimes you're going to get that shrinkage, and then it might look good after primer, everything, you paint it. A couple of weeks later, you might see like a little sand scratch through your paint job. But most times that can also actually be buffed out through your clear coat. So you basically just color sand your clear coat and you can buff that out if you get that issue. Got some multi-tone paint. Should I mix it in clear or a carrier? It's up to you. If you're confident that you're not going to run your clear coat, then you can put it in clear coat and spray it. If you feel like you want more insurance and, give you some room in case you screw up, then I would put it in a carrier. How long between coats on 2K primer? Do you sand between coats? No, you don't sand between 2K filler primer coats, and you don't sand in between epoxy coats, and you don't sand between sealer coats as well. Okay, and you never sand a final coat of sealer. You just spray right over it. As far as flashing between the two coats of primer, depending on how hot it is, anywhere from 15 to 25 minutes. Okay, so you spray it, you wait 15 minutes, you're good to go again, most times. Okay, sometimes if it's a little cooler out, you're spraying at 65 degrees, 75 degrees. You may want to let it sit for 30 minutes. Okay, but if you're spraying in 70s to 90s, that stuff is going to dry pretty quick. 10-15 minutes, you're ready for your second coat. Like by the time you walk around the car, you're ready to go over that spot again. You know what I mean? So like if you're doing body work on a car and you got like, say you have like a dent on every panel, and you want to prime that little dent on every panel that you have. So say you start on the passenger door and then you're walking around the front, you do the part of the fender, you do some on the hood, you do the driver door, you go around the car. By the time you get to this where you started, you can put your second coat on, because it takes about 10-15 minutes to go around a car. You know what I mean? To get pretty much, sometimes less, but you guys get the point, right? Chip or sand all the way down to the metal and start over. It depends, if you don't have a lot of chips, you could just do what I do in VIP. Like we have videos where we show you how to do that, and also we take down to metal in some areas. So if you have a lot and you have old paint, you might want to just take it down to metal and put some epoxy primer on that, the whole hood, and then 2K filler primer on top of that. You don't have to sand the epoxy, by the way. You just spray your 2K filler primer on top of that. Then you just block sand it out. You could go by machine at first. You can use a DA. You can put like a 320 grit on there just to take the rough down. And then you can finish up with a 400 grit, get it nice and smooth. And then if you want to go even better, you get wet sand it with 400 grit, 400 to 600 grit. Okay. And then paint. Awesome. Prime. But the sandpaper I have a lot of at the house is 180, 400, 800. Do I have to 220 or 320 here at the moment? I do not have. No. So you could basically just get that down with 180, and you can 2K filler prime over 180. You'll be fine. Okay. You could 2K filler prime over 150. That's like the roughest I will prime over is a 150 grit with 2K filler primer. It fills it in really easy. And you can sand it out really easily as well. Do I need to go back with color? Yeah, pretty much. Yep. You pretty much have to. It depends on how bad it is. If it's an area where you can just forget about it and not have it bother you, then you could probably walk away from it. But if it's a customer job or a job, like right where you can see it on your fender or whatever, and it bothers you, and if it's big enough, then you're going to have to wet sand that out, sand the whole hood down or the fender, whatever you're working on, rebase that spot and clear the whole thing again, because you're not going to be doing a spot repair in the middle of a panel without clear coating the whole panel. Spot repairs are mainly blending and then clearing the whole panel. You could get away with flipping car right on the hood. I mean, if it's a flip car, you might probably not even worry about it. All used cars have blemishes anyway. You might not even want to waste your time on it. Just mix up some mud, make it look like bird poop, put it on there, and just go sell the car. Because most likely people are not going to be like really anal about a condition of a used car, especially if it's like an average price point car. All cars have scratches and rock chips and blemishes, you know what I mean? So, all right, guys, thanks for tuning in. I'll be back next week, same time. If you have any auto body questions, let me know. For all you guys watching a replay, click over here to get the free auto body guide, free auto body trainings. Look down below in the description to get more links and more content. Talk to you soon. Have a good week.